Chapter 1. There used to live a family which had a unique way of life in them. Every person from that family was from a military background, and there used to be a saying in their family that, "Come out of the fear which is keeping you down and do something for your motherland that would make her proud." But one day, something happened that made the family destruct. When the smallest son of the house went out from the house with his wife and son for some shopping, the gas leaked, and there was an explosion in the house which killed each and every one of the big joint military family. It was a very bad day for everyone who heard it and for those who ever knew them. After returning from the shopping, the son found every one of his family dead and the house burning, but miraculously he found out that the son of his elder brother was outside of the house and was alive. But there was a very big thing which had changed about him. The boy who survived from the burning was named Andreo. He was a very happy kid from his childhood, always laughing and playing. In short, a restlessly energetic kid. But after the incident, Andreo's uncle, who was the smallest son of the big members in the family, adopted him. He tried to help him but couldn't do anything. Andreo became silent. He started to stay quiet all the time, thinking something. Whenever his cousin came to play with him, he would silently decline. And moreover, he built a fear towards the fire, so he never gone to the kitchen, and whenever he would see fire, either be outside of the house, or in TV, or either in phone, he would scream or get into a state where it was impossible for him to move. The fear was built inside of him because he had heard the sounds of his family members slowly die and scream for help, while they couldn't come out of the house and no one was going inside of the house because they were afraid that they might get in the fire and die themselves. The change of Andreo from being a very good and energetic kid to being a very quiet and scared kid was killing his uncle from inside. So he tried to arrange a psychiatrist who would help them bring back the true Andreo from the one who he had become right now. After many tries, he started to loosen the expressionless look on his face, and then slowly he started to talk a bit to his uncle and aunt, and he also started to play with his cousin. After so many trials which he had been going through was eventually coming to an end. At least that's what his uncle and aunt thought. About a year later, Andreo and his current family came to know that they were not the last people alive of their family. The eldest son, who was kicked out of the house, visited them. Andreo's uncle didn't want to talk with him when he came to visit them, because he was never in good terms with his elder brother, and even Andreo's late father weren't in good terms with the elder son of the family. After some times of rejecting to talk with him, when he was about to leave, Andreo's aunt saw him and said that the brothers who met each other after so many years shouldn't talk like this, and invited him inside. Andreo's uncle didn't talk with him much and left the room, where Andreo's aunt was talking very passionately with the eldest son. After some time of talking with each other very passionately, they stopped talking and went to the kitchen to get something, while Andreo's uncle went to pick the kids up from their school. After returning from the school, when the kids saw a strange man, Andreo's cousin went to his mom and talked with her about who he was. But Andreo was stuck in his place when he saw the man. His uncle saw him like this, and immediately carried him and went to his room. After calming down, Andreo said that he saw him before at the day of the fire burning incident. When his uncle and his family went to shopping, this guy came to the house and talked with Andreo's grandpa, and they got into a fight. That was the reason why he went to play outside, while the other kids went inside their room to play. Andreo's uncle started to get a rough image of what could have happened and went to the house, but he didn't want to accept it, and went outside of the house, leaving his phone in his bedroom. After that, Andreo and his uncle reached the police station and said everything that they had doubted about the eldest son of the family. The police in return said that they would help them if they have any proof, and said that they would search for every possibility and even search the house for some other clues. But because it was known as an accident, the police could only do some limited investigation. After that, when they reached the house, they found that Andreo's cousin was playing outside of the house. When Andreo's uncle went inside and searched for them, he found out that his wife was cheating on him with his elder brother. He burst into anger, and then Andreo's uncle revealed that he doubted her for many months, and then he said he knew that she was cheating, but he didn't want to accept it and gave her many chances. But it was wrong at the end. They had a child. What about that innocent kid? Andreo's aunt started to apologize while his elder brother went away from the house. Andreo and his cousin were playing outside of the house. When they heard the loud noise of fighting, the next thing that Andreo knew was that his aunt was going out of the house and she had her suitcase with her. After that, the kids came inside the house. Andreo's uncle said to his cousin that his mother is not coming back, and she is not worthy of being his mother. After some days they got divorced and separated their ways. Some years after all this, Andreo had grown as a teen, and his cousin as well. Andreo's uncle met someone new and they started a new life. Andreo's new aunt was a very kind and very good person. Unfortunately, she couldn't give birth due to some reason, and she saw Andreo and his cousin as her own children. She treated them as if she was a real mother, and she was really nice to Andreo as well. They started a great life, and eventually Andreo had almost forgotten his fear of fire, but it was all going to change. Chapter 2. One day when Andreo and his cousin were coming home back from school, they saw Andreo's old aunt. She was making a fuss in front of all the neighborhood. Andreo's cousin went near her biological mother and took her inside the house and called Mom loudly. Her stepmother came and stood in front of them. Then he said that she is my real mother. Not you. Then suddenly the biological mother started to yell at Andrew's current aunt, saying that she was the one who took everything from her, according to her, when she divorced her husband and remarried the elder son of the Andreo's family tree. He started to hit him and treated her very badly, and after that he even broke a bottle on the head of her. And the main reason for that cause was Andreo's new aunt, which was totally not understandable. Andreo's uncle burst into anger and started to yell at her. But in the meantime, Andreo's cousin called the police and the domestic violence group as well. Everything came under control. After some days, everything came clear as water. Andreo's old aunt wasn't bad, but she was under drugs, and when she cheated on Andreo's uncle, the elder son of the family had forced her to take the drugs and did something terrible to her. And after that, he blackmailed her to do all the things that she did. But every story has two sides to it. Andreo's uncle and cousin didn't believe her. So they asked the doctors to say the truth, and after some forcing, they blurted the truth. Andreo's old aunt was giving some money to the doctors who were checking her condition and said that she was being full in drugs, but she wasn't being forced. She wanted to get her family. Andreo's uncle straight up said the police everything that happened, and they posted a restraining order on Andreo's old aunt. But there was still a big issue that didn't clear at all. That was the burning of Andreo's family. Andreo had been quite in all the matters that had happened in the family because he felt that he had no place to say anything, but his uncle still liked him and still supported him. All the things that was happening in his family was very dramatic and unbelievable, but there was something that was way more than what Andreo had thought of his life. The police didn't get any proof why the gas leaked and how the fire occurred, but one day when he was alone in the house, he went outside for some fresh air while everyone else had went to shopping. While he was wandering from here to there, Andreo saw a house which was burning, and everyone was outside of the house screaming, and some people were holding two people who looked like they were married. Andreo noticed that they were calling out to their daughter who was caught up in the fire and was inside the house. Andreo was shocked seeing the fire and all his fear came right back, and he remembered all the screams of his family and saw everything repeating on his mind. Then he saw something that made him feel very angry, and then suddenly saw his father, mother, and grandfather in his thoughts, who said the saying of their family, "Come out of the fear, which is keeping you down, and do something for your motherland that would make her proud." Andreo said that I am scared and I am not one of the military persons. I am not you. Andreo's father said, "You are right, son. You are not us. You are you, and you have your blood, son. You can do it. Save a life for us." Andreo's mother said, "We always love you and each and every person in the family. We are all looking you from above the skies and don't blame yourself. You weren't the one who killed us. You are innocent." And at last, he saw his grandpa who said, "Andreo, you are really strong. Don't go down or hold yourself. Do your best and we know why you are angry, but use it to save someone's life, son." Andreo heard everything they had to say, and a tear of happiness to see his family, sadness of losing them, and many more surrounding him came down. Then he noticed that he was able to move and saw that it had only been few seconds since he saw all that and talked with his late family. After that, he took a bucket of water from a stranger who was about to throw it on the house and poured it on himself and said to the people around him that he will save the girl and instructed them to call the fire brigade, ambulance, and the police. Then Andrew went inside hurriedly and saw that the girl was sitting at a side of the room which was on fire, but luckily she was unharmed. He suddenly jumped inside the room because he poured water in himself. He was a bit okay. After fighting for survival in fire, and somehow they were able to come out with minor injuries. At the same time, Andreo's uncle, aunt, and his cousin were returning from the shopping. They heard the commotion, and when they went to see what had happened, they saw that Andreo, who was scared of fire so much that he couldn't tilt when he saw fire, was bringing someone out of the fire-burning house. The ambulance, cops, fire brigade had arrived, and at the spot they started to do their job eventually. The next day, when Andreo woke up, he found himself in the hospital bed, and then he came to know that the girl, who he had saved, was a year younger than him, and had newly shifted to the neighborhood, and by they had left the gas open, and then their house got caught up in a fire, like what had happened with Andreo's family. But when Andreo's uncle and aunt were explaining everything, Andreo said that, "It's not what it looks like. Our family's death wasn't something that we could say an accident, but it was a mass massacre." Andreo's uncle asked, "How do you know about it?" Then at that time, the family of the girl who Andreo saved came to Andreo's room and said thanks to him for saving their one and only lifeline. Their daughter Andreo was happy that she was fine, but he wanted to talk something with his family and said that, "I am very grateful that she is fine, but I need to talk something very important with my family, so please take care of your daughter and come back when you are free." Chapter 3. Andreo's rudeness was not good in front of his uncle and aunt. They started to say something about his rudeness, but when they saw the angry face of Andreo, they understood that the matter is something very important, and they kept their words inside and thought of hearing him. Andreo said that, "Uncle, I know everything why you hate your elder brother and why every else does as well. The eldest son of the family was a very bad of a person. Not that he was like that from the very beginning. When he was little, he was a very bright student, and he was a son that everyone liked. But when he grew older, he became aware of the family's reputation, and despite being a good person, he started to misuse the family's name for his necessities. Everyone knew that he had changed, but when they would say something to him, he would always hear and forget it. After that, one day came when he misused his position as the eldest son to do something inappropriate to the maids in the house. When Andrew's grandpa came to know about that, they saved the maid from being insulted for life and banished the eldest son from the house. After that, they never saw him, except the day when he showed up on Andreo's uncle's house. But Andreo said that, when the fire incident occurred, the eldest son came to the house and said that he needs his part of the family's inheritance. Andreo's grandpa said that he wouldn't even give a piece of his property or money to him. When the eldest son heard that, he went to the kitchen, brought a bread, apple, and some milk. After that, he went outside of the house, went to the back side of the kitchen, waited for some time, and throwed a matchstick inside the kitchen. That led to the fire. When Andreo's uncle said, "How does he know all this?" Andreo said that his father, mother, and grandpa talked to him in his thoughts and said everything. Andreo's uncle didn't believe, but when he said the past that he never heard of, there was nothing except accepting his words. Andreo said that he can prove this. When he said he can prove it, Andreo's uncle looked at him with hope in his eyes. Andreo explained the plan, but Andreo's uncle made some changes and they were ready to get the culprit. After about a week, Andreo went to burnt-down house, where he cried and said that today everything would be over. It was a rainy day and thunder was hitting really hard. He noticed that the eldest son of the family was standing right behind him. Andreo said that, "So you are here." The eldest son said that, "Did you bring that thing?" Andreo said yes. "But before that, can I get a minute?" Eldest son said yes, "But what for?" Andreo started to dig a hole in the mud and took out an expensive-looking matchstick holder. The eldest son was in shock. "Andreo said that you killed my family, didn't you? It was once yours as well, but only for this piece of paper. You killed your own family." After that, Andreo said that, "I was scared of fire and you, because I always felt like I couldn't save my family, just because I was a kid and a weakling in front of the fire and you. But not now, I will win this time." The eldest son was shocked and said that, "You know everything then, right? Then there is no other way than killing you from the bottom without a trace. Like I killed my family without a trace. Life was hard for me, and when I just asked for my own part, they said that they wouldn't give me. What was I supposed to do? Give me the paper, or else you are dead for real, son." After hearing this, the police and the villagers who were hiding behind the trees and the burnt-down house came out and started to shout on him. When the cops came to arrest him, he started to run back side of the village where there was a forest. The cops and villagers started to run behind him. But then, something happened that maybe no one thought of would happen while everyone was running behind him. The eldest son thought of hiding behind a big, tall, green tree. The thunder came down like some people's rage was on top of it, and came down roaring and landed, with the fire on the tree. The eldest son was burned down by nature, and he screamed the same way Andreo's family did when they were burnt. The villagers and cops had the same thing in their mind, and that was, he got what he deserved, and then everything finally ended. The mystery came to an end. Andreo felt as if someone touched him and said thank you, and when he turned around, he saw up towards the sky and said no thank you. After some years, Andreo's cousin kept the legacy of the family going on and joined the military. Andreo faced his fears and became a firefighter, and somehow, he ended up with the girl who Andreo saved in his teens. They married and are expecting a baby girl in the distant future. Fear is common in each and every living creature, but it depends on us whether we want to live in fear or become free by facing it. Humans normally tend to like things more than others feeling, but at the end of the day we need someone to be with.